It's easy to forget about the conditions in which military personnel live. While at war, a tank is basically a soldier's home. They eat, sleep, work, and socialize inside the tight confines of the tank. Today's video, we're going military. Let's look at how a tank works. We're going to focus specifically on the American M1A2 Abrams tank. We'll look at the caterpillar tracks, the turret, where the crew sits, and the engine in the back that powers it all. Before we get started, now let's get to it. First up are the caterpillar tracks. To move forward, the tracks are first tightened onto the drive sprockets. The driver accelerates, and the turbine engine causes the drive sprocket to rotate. The rotation moves the tracks forward. The suspension on each road wheel helps absorb the impact from rocks or holes, while maintaining traction on the ground. As the tank moves forward, the tracks come off the last wheel on the right and the left side, and land on the next wheel in from the right and the left side. This process happens on both sides simultaneously, which gives the tank its movement. Now let's take a closer look at the tank itself. Let's look at the history of the M1 Abrams tank. The M1 Abrams tank was introduced in the year 1980. The tank was named in honor of United States Army General Crichton W. Abrams, Jr., who was a commander in the Vietnam War. The idea with the M1 Abrams tank was to keep it low to the ground so that it was harder to hit. Angled sides on the tank allowed enemy fire to deflect off the side. It's a bit cozy inside, so I hope you're not claustrophobic. During operations, the crew may spend hundreds of hours inside, with very little sleep. Next up are the specs. There are many versions of the tank. We have the M1, then came the M1A1, and then the M1A2. There's also minor variants of the tank, with many different enhancement packages. But to keep things simple, let's not worry about just these three major versions. They look very similar on the outside, but there's been plenty of improvements to items such as the armor, electronics, and the weapon systems. Each new version is generally heavier and slower, but the increased tech makes up for it. For the rest of the video, I'm going to focus specifically on the M1A2 Abrams tank, though some of what I'll say will be true of the previous versions as well. Let's look at some specs. The height is 8 feet, the length is 32 feet, and the width is 12 feet. For comparison, here's the size of a person. This tank weighs a whopping 68 US tons. That's equal to the weight of about 35 cars. Even with all that weight, the tank is capable of speeds of up to 42 miles per hour. It has a fuel capacity of just under 500 gallons. Again, just for comparison, most cars can only hold about 16 gallons. But tanks need all of that fuel because they only get about 0.6 miles per gallon, compared to the average car 25 miles per gallon. So it's a gas guzzler, but it's heavy and powerful. Next up, let's look at the engine, which is in the very back of the tank. The engine is a lot like a jet engine, except it's not as loud. You'd think that a military tank would be loud, but the M1 Abrams is surprisingly quiet. This is good, so the tank doesn't give away its location. The air intake is on top. Hot air comes out the back. The engine needs to cool, so these fins on the side help with that. The tank runs off of diesel fuel and stores the fuel in bladders on either side of the tank. The bladders are hidden underneath, on the bottom of the tank. This is a hatch that allows mechanics to work on the engine. If needed, the entire engine can be lifted out of the tank. This way, it can be repaired or replaced. The wheels next up are the wheels. There's 7 on the ground on each side of the tank, a raised idler wheel in the very front, and the drive sprocket in the back. This one has gear teeth on it, and it's the only one that's powered by the engine. It moves the entire track along. The other wheels spin freely as the tank treads move past it. The road wheels also have suspension built into them. The whole reason we use caterpillar tracks is to allow the tank to go over some very rough terrain. The regular vehicles with 4 wheels have limited surface area and contact with the ground. They can get stuck much easier. That's why it's a good idea to stay on paved roads. The tank, on the other hand, has a much larger surface area to displace all that weight. Obstacles in the way are usually not a problem. The tank can even climb some very steep hills. Once the track is tightened onto the sprockets, the wheels will help steer the tank. To turn left, the right tracks need to move faster than the left tracks. Next up, let's look at the turret. It can rotate all the way around and in about 9 seconds. On top of the turret, you'll find the weapons. This is the main gun, which is a 120mm smoothbore cannon. This means that the shells or ammunition are 120mm, and so is the bore or the hole that it goes through. The shells leave the barrel at about 3,500 miles per hour. It can hit a target 2 miles away. The automatic stabilizers allow the gun to stay locked on targets, even while going over rough terrain. This way the driver doesn't have to stop every time the tank needs to fire. The tank can even spin in place while the main gun remains locked on target. On the side, there's usually at least one more machine gun to operate. On the sides are smoke grenade launchers. There's one on each side of the tank. These make it harder to be seen during combat. There's not much room for equipment inside of the tank, so oftentimes the crew put it out here on the bustle rack. There are 2 hatches on top of the turret, the commander's hatch and the loader's hatch. Inside of the turret, you'll find 3 out of the 4 crew members. It's a bit cozy in here. The gunner sits down below to the very right. The commander sits directly behind the gunner. The loader is off to the left of the main gun. When the turret rotates, all 3 of these crew members rotate with it. Underneath here, this is called the turret basket. The seal between the turret and the hull is so good that it could protect the crew inside. I want to show you about this tank. The commander can see 360 degrees around the tank, through the viewing ports. The shells for the main gun are stored in a large compartment on the back of the turret. The loader can then open up an access door, grab a shell, and load the main gun. This must be done quickly during combat situations. If any of the ammunition is ignited, the panels on top are weak to blow off so that the explosion goes up instead of into the turret where the crew is located. The driver sets up at the very front. There's a hatch up here that can be opened to go inside. There's not much room up here either, so the driver has to lay back in the seat. The controls are up here and 2 brake pedals down here. There's no gas pedal in the tank, just use the 2 black handlebars for acceleration and steering. The driver also has periscopes that allow him to see a 120-degree field of view. Usually the driver enters through the hatch up front, but if needed, the driver can climb into the turret and then through a tiny door in the basket and into the seat. The United States isn't the only ones to use the M1 Abrams tanks. It's been sold to other countries such as Australia, Egypt, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. The M1A2 Abrams tank has been in use for almost 30 years now. At some point it may be replaced, but for now it continues to be the main battle tank for the United States military. Thanks for watching. Please consider liking the video. Thanks for watching. Please consider liking the video. If you've ever wondered how a tank works, I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. Let me know in the comment section what you'd like to see next. I'll see you in the next video.